All right. Got it. Thanks so much, Natalie, for the introduction and setting this time up. I love Highland Park because it's like there's always something going on in Highland Park, and I think the library is like a huge part of that, or a big piece of that. Yeah, very happy to be here. Let me share my screen while we're here so that you can see the slides. But yeah, we're here talking about maximizing influence, and the specific tool we're going to talk about today is the influence model. Hello, everybody. This is me, and our series here, which is all together now. Internally, I like to call them the toolkit series, toolkit sessions, because it's going to be all about giving you the tools to be a high-performing and flourishing leader. That's what I love to do. I help people become high-performing, flourishing leaders. And just like at all the other ones, I just wanted to reiterate at the end, I'll be sharing a resource that is for your own personal development, a personality assessment called the 5 Voices, which actually ties into all of these tools that we've talked about over the last 3 workshops, and especially into this one. And I'll talk about more about that at the end, so I hope you stick around for that. But yeah, like Natalie mentioned, I've been certified in the tools and assessments created by Giant Worldwide, and Giant is all about creating leaders worth following with what they call the leader's toolkit. So it could be a little bit intimidating to know when to start, just like when you embark on a project around your house. It can be intimidating to know where to start with leadership, and what you need is the right tools, but the right tools can give you the confidence to do what you need to do. So I've mentioned this before, but just to give you a little bit of context behind what is going on with what when I say leader tools or the toolkit, really all this is it's based on leadership vocabulary. So, whether that is leadership quotes or books or just concepts and principles of the universe, things that are objective, meaning that, we can both talk about the same thing, or we both understand what we're talking about. It's also common. Sorry, objective means we can measure it. Common means we both can talk about it. We both mean the same thing. And viral means because it's common, because it's objective, it can spread and be picked up easily. And we take that language and put it into visual tools. So maybe you've seen the support challenge matrix 2 weeks ago, and we drew that together. By the way, hopefully you have I'm grabbing mine right now, some sort of notebook, pen and paper with you. If you've got like colored pencils, crayons, markers, go ahead and get those too. I like, having color in mine. But these are visual tools. So I think one of the benefits is that you get to actually just see it and see it and draw it to be able to understand it really well. And they're really simple. And because they're simple, they're practical. Think about a hammer. You know how to use a hammer because of how simple it is. And because it's so simple and practical, it becomes scalable. You can easily share it with others. So that's the importance of visual tools. It's not just reading a bunch of books, although we love books and books are really helpful. But in the 21st century, there are some things we need to be able to pick up a little bit more simply and easily. And that's what the power of the Leader Toolkit. And then obviously these things create transformation. They help us to become 100% healthy, flourishing ourselves and performing our best. And then it helps us to multiply into others. So whether you are just getting started leading a team, or you've been leading for a while and you've got a lot of wisdom that you need to be able to pass down to others, that is what the tools help you to do. It helps you to pass these things on in a really simple, scalable, and effective way. So that is the secret sauce behind what we're talking about today with leadership tools. And with that preamble, we're going to just jump right into a discussion question. What we like to do with discussion questions here, just because we're recording, is just we're going to open up the chat. So you can hit that chat button should be towards the bottom of your screen. And here's the question that we're going to answer. Just take a minute to think about this, and silently to yourself, and then answer, who has influenced you the most in your life? Why do you think they have been so influential? And if you've got multiple people, great. You can feel free to list a few people off. So think about maybe one or two people. Remember in the first workshop, we talked about those liberating leaders, the people in the support challenge quadrant there. And, who has had a really big impact on your life? Take a few minutes, and I'll read some of the answers as they come along. I'll keep your name out of it, obviously, but would love to hear who has influenced you most in your life, and why do you think they have been so influential? As you're thinking, if this helps, I'll just share kind of someone from my own life. I had someone, I was involved in a nonprofit organization a while ago, and they were a leader in that organization. And there's an older gentleman there, older than me, who I just remember took an interest in getting to know me and getting to understand like about my life and where I'm coming from. And I think because he built that kind of relationship, he showed that he was for me. It helped me to feel like I could trust him, and he became influential in my life. So that was, a person in my life who was influential. I see some answers here. Your previous boss, because of his service, leadership, and little ego. Yeah. So that's always really helpful, to do things without the pride or the ego, and do things out of service. Best friend Carol, her mother, modeled ethical, thoughtful behavior that was missing from my family. They inspired me to learn more about the different kinds of people in the world. Yeah, just kind of like a curiosity for people, and a care for people. Sometimes they inspire us. Yeah, this is great. Who else? Maybe one or two more. And hopefully, as we're thinking through this, we're starting to dissect what makes someone influential to us. We're using case studies, right? I'll share just one more. I had a supervisor that I was working with who really gave me room to be creative and to take projects and run with them. And she was really good at kind of asking questions and maybe testing some of those things, but was never too strict or stringent about like, well, we can't do this because it's never been done before. But she would give me kind of the space to kind of create and dream a little bit, and that was really helpful to me. Two high school teachers, yes, teachers. One encouraged my interest in languages. That's awesome. Yeah, we all have those teachers. The other one who introduced me to the world of social justice. That's really cool. Yeah. Aunt, patient, not judging, good listener, open-minded. Yeah, so these qualities that we see in someone influence us and probably inspire us to be, maybe better people, more open-minded, to take up an interest in different topics. My mom too, I heard so much resilience, yes, from her. And she has a great sense of humor about life. That's really cool. Yeah, this is great. I'm really happy to hear what sort of things influenced us in our lives, what sort of people influenced us in our lives and why. And hopefully that kind of helps us set the stage for what we're talking about today. So like I mentioned before, we're going to talk about maximizing influence. So just textbook definition of maximize, it's probably something I'll do for both of these words, but probably something we know already. Maximize is make a big or large as great as possible, to make the best use of. I think that's a really key part for this. So let's make the most of what we have, right, for maximizing. And then influence, what's influence? Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. So I've mentioned a lot of times, both times in our previous sessions, is, sometimes leadership isn't something that really sticks out to us as, something that we want to do, or we don't always recognize that as what we're doing. Maybe you're not in a management position, or maybe you're not in a traditional leadership role, but leadership really is just influence. Leadership is having an effect on the character development and behavior of someone else. And as we're going to talk about today, that influence happens in all of our relationships. So if you have a relationship, you have influence. If you have a relationship, any sort of relationships, you have influence, and if you have influence, you're a leader. So these tools are going to apply to you in what you're doing. So let's put those definitions together. Maximizing influence, that is the goal of leadership. So like I said, leadership is really about maximizing our influence with others. So maybe some practical things you might be facing right now that you might want to maximize your influence in these contexts. Maybe you are in a new job or have a new role in your job, and you need to, work with a new team, or you have a new responsibility that means that you have to influence the thoughts and behaviors, have an effect on the thoughts and behaviors of your colleagues in a different way now. Maybe you want to progress in your career, maybe in your specific job, or maybe you want to start networking with other organizations, and you need to find a way to, put your best foot forward, or whether that's interviews or networking, like I was saying, or just showing that you're capable of more, right? Or maybe you want to just build your friend circle more. Maybe you move to a new area, or you just want more or better quality of friends. So these are all contexts where influence and having the skills to maximize influence is going to be helpful. And as always, I'm going to bring up this visual tool that we're going to talk about today. In the past, I've brought up maybe 2 or 3 different visual tools per session. This time is going to be all about one, but this one tool has a lot going on. So hopefully you got your paper and pens or pencils ready to engage with this tool and to draw it together. It's going to be a really fun one. It's going to be detailed, but I'll walk you through just piece by piece what to draw. And you don't have to draw all of the details. All right, here it is. It's called the influence model. And what we want to start with here is just 2 people. So you got yourself on the one side of the page and others on the other side of the page. So feel free to, express yourself as you're drawing the you person over there. You can draw your favorite hat, or, a little, something that you're holding that signifies that it's you. But you got you, and then, think through who's on the other side. Again, is it people at your job? Is it friends? Yeah, stick figures are great. That's why you got some simple, really easy to draw things here. Yeah, so think about who's on the other side. Think about, is it a coworker? Is it a boss? Is it a a family member? Is it a potential friend? Whatever you want to do. So you've got two people. Give it a little bit of space because you're going to be writing a few things in between. But the dream is to have just the two people sitting face to face and just have arrows pointing to and from, and we have dialogue that just works like that. I say something and it influences someone, and they say something and it influences me, and we're just able to live and work together like that. The problem, though, and the difficulty is that self-preservation gets in the way. So we've got these two walls in between, and self-preservation gets in the way of our influence. And the thing to know about self-preservation is, number one, everyone has it. So you have it, the other person has it, everyone's got it. It's actually normal. And in some way it's healthy, right? You do want to have some self-preservation because that's what helps you to protect what's important to yourself and to others. The issue is when it becomes over exaggerated, when the self-preservation gets way too high and it causes us to act in ways that actually lessen our influence, right? The wall blocks our influence. And then obviously the other person who might have their walls way up, it's going to be an issue to try to influence them. So when those walls are up, relationship, influence, and impact kind of bounce off and become transactional. So you can draw that like loopy arrow with the transaction there, just to help you visualize what happens when the walls of self-preservation get in the way. So we've got our two people, we've got our walls of self-preservation. Between those two walls, we want relationship, influence, and impact to pass between those walls. But what happens is that oftentimes our attempts bounce off the walls of self-preservation and things become transactional. So hopefully, those are the things we're going to focus on for right now. Hopefully you're getting something like that written down. And hopefully I haven't lost anybody yet. If you have some questions, feel free to throw them in the chat as we go. I'm keeping an eye on that as I'm talking. So I'll try to answer questions in real time if I can. Okay, so the question now is, what do we do about these walls? The walls themselves are a completely different thing we won't actually have time to get into today. It's actually a completely different workshop about self-preservation and getting over our own self-preservation to influence others. But what we're going to talk about today is how do we get over another person's self-preservation? How do we get them to lower their walls a little bit? And I'm going to point your attention to those 4 words kind of in the middle here. These 4 C words underneath the trust. And that's what we got to do. We got to build trust. And these 4 words kind of act like, think about a bike lock, right? Or like a combination lock, or like a key, how it has those pins, right? We need to get these 4 things just right. And that helps to unlock influence and kind of bring down the wall of self-preservation. So I'm going to talk about those, and I'll blow them up a little bit so we can look at them. But they're 4 words. They all start with C. And these things kind of act as filters. These are 4 types of questions that everyone is asking when you first meet them, or when they're trying to build or establish trust. Okay, I'm going to go through each one of them. Maybe you want to write those words down and then have a separate section where you take notes about what each of these are, because that's going to be the meat of what we talk about for the rest of tonight. So the first one is character. So character is really asking the question, do I trust you? And are you a person of integrity? So integrity is, what you say is what you do. They're the same, right? Now, obviously, I think I'm sure most of us here are honest people, or at least we try to be honest people. But what happens with character, the tricky thing is sometimes the way that we communicate comes off in a way that other people don't think that you are for them or that you're trying to be on their team, right? Sometimes we can communicate in ways that seem like we're just in it for ourselves, or that we're against them, that our intentions are directly opposed to theirs. So character is really asking the question is, are your intentions for me? Are you on my team? Can I trust that you're for me? The second thing is chemistry. So chemistry is, do I like you? Do I connect with you? Do I enjoy spending time with you? We all know that there can be some people who just, do something or interact in a certain way, or just something that just rubs people the wrong way. And they're just not very likable people. And those are things that we can actually work on, right? They may be personality tendencies, but our chemistry can be things that we can be more agreeable with more people more often. Chemistry. So I'll just stop here. Character and chemistry are kind of similar. They're the same question. It's like asking, do I like you? Can I get along with you? Kind of thing. They're similar in that way. And the next two are very similar. They're basically asking, can you do what you say you're going to do? Can you be effective in a specific area? So the first one there is competency. Are you competent? Are you confident in the way that you communicate your competence? So it's not always, can you do the job? Can you do what I need you to do? But are you confident in your ability to do it? And can you almost like sell yourself? Can you show that you're able to do it? So many people are so competent, but they really doubt themselves and they doubt their abilities, which causes other people to doubt them as well. So that's competency. And then the fourth one is credibility. So great, you're good at fixing toilets, but I don't have a broken toilet right now. So your competency really doesn't have any credibility to me. So are you able to take your competence, understand the complexity of my reality, and design a bespoke solution that helps me achieve my goals? So the credibility question is kind of like, so what? What difference does it make that you're the best at what you do? Are you able to connect what you're doing with what I need and what I'm facing right now? So those are the 4 C's: character, chemistry, competency, and credibility. And just like like I was saying, these are kind of like a bike lock, and we want to get all 4 of them just right, so that the other person will be able to see you and build and establish that trust. Think of them like filters. So maybe sometimes, they say, okay, they've got character, they've got chemistry, their competency isn't great. They haven't really communicated to me that they know what they're doing. Or yeah, maybe I can see that they know what they're doing, but I don't really need it right now, or it doesn't seem relevant to my situation. So that would be an example. Or maybe they're looking at you and another person is looking at you and saying, okay, man, this person's competent. They're the best at what they do. They really can get things done and they're credible. Like they're the best in this field, but I just don't like them. I think they're in it for the money, or they kind of come in and bark orders and leave. And I don't like working with them no matter how good they are at what they do. So you can see that like we can be out of balance in some way or another. So yeah, let's just flip that around and think about ourselves. Everyone has a barrier to establishing trust that they have to overcome. We talked last week about tendencies, right? Tendencies are the things that are hardwired into us that we can't change. Some people are going to have a tendency to do one of these really easily, really naturally. Maybe chemistry comes really naturally to you. Maybe competency comes really naturally to you. You're able to communicate your competency really well. But there's going to be one of those that's going to be difficult. So maybe character. Maybe you just are really, you say a lot of things, you over explain or over promise and under deliver, for example. Or maybe it's credibility. Maybe you just have a really hard time of connecting the dots for people and saying, hey, this is my idea, or this is the thing that I have that was really going to help you, and here's why it's going to help you. So I want us to take some time to think about that together. And we're gonna stop the recording in a minute. But here's the question that we're gonna ponder kind of for some of our time here, and then we'll have some time for questions and some other things as well. But which of these, those four, I can bring them up in a second if you want to look at them. But which of these four filters comes easily to you, and which is most difficult? And then give some thought to why. So maybe if you've got them listed out somewhere, you want to put like a star around the one that comes most naturally to you, the one that you feel most people appreciate you in. And then maybe you want to circle the one that is a growth area for you. We don't get the opportunity to just say, I'm going to just double down on chemistry and I'm going to forget about competency, because that's like getting 3 numbers right in the combination lock. It's not going to help. It's not going to open influence. It's not going to open real influence. You're not going to maximize your influence. So let's take a second to silently to ourselves, just process the 4 C's and write down which one comes most easily, which one comes most which is most difficult for you, and then take some time to think about why you think that might be, or where do you see that come up for yourself. Let me just, sometimes I find it helpful to give an example first. And so I'll give an example about myself based on my own personality. This might be something, this might be you, this might not be you, but for me, I am really good at chemistry. I'm a really outgoing person. I love showing people, my best side and really getting to make friends, I guess. I can be quite agreeable. I'm also pretty good at credibility. If I have something that I know would help you, I'm really good at showing, hey, this is going to be really helpful to you. Competency, so-so. Sometimes I'm good at that. The main sticking point for me is character sometimes. And it's not because I'm, a malicious, evil person. But like I was saying in that example before, I get so excited about the things that I love that sometimes I oversell them and make these promises or overpromise. And when it comes time to deliver, I might come up short in some ways. And some people might think, okay, Tim said all of these things in the past, and what was delivered was this. I'm not sure that he's really in it. It might seem like I'm in it for myself, like I'm just trying to get people excited, right? I might seem like a used car salesman. And so what I need to work on is that character piece of communicating to people that, hey, I'm for you. I'm going to deliver on what I say I'm going to deliver on, and I'm going to follow through. And I'm a person of integrity. What I say is what I'm going to do. So that's my growth area. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what to process. We're going to give you about 5 minutes of just silence and processing. If you want to play some thinking music in the background, feel free to do that for yourself. And then we'll come back and the recording will be stopped, and we'll share kind of our reflections on this tool, but specifically how it's affecting us. So we'll start that now, and we'll see you in a few minutes.